Welcome to episode 69 of Run to the Hills podcast. And today it's the longest day, Eddie. Can you believe it? As a runner.
No, it's the shortest.
Shortest day. Oh my goodness. Longest night. It's not a good start. Well, as a request from our listeners, we'll leave the blooper in.
Did I take that? Or did you?
You said longest day. God damn it. You set me up.
It's so cold and dark. Oh, Gareth.
I'm like Anchorman. I'll just read the auto cue. That's his.
No, you were totally just reading the auto cue. And I was trying not to make you laugh because you were going 69 and I was going.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but yeah, 40 plus co-presenters here. And
you said 69 and I went. When does that not become funny? When do we stop? Sometimes I think God, I've got grown-up children, and we still find that sort of thing.
Never stops being funny. But it is the
anyway,
shortest day.
My mum listens. Let's gloss over this. Anyway, shortest day of the year, definitely. It's felt like the longest day of the year here today because it's so freaking cold, but it's dark and cold here.
Hey, you were proper wrapped up when you answered the Zoom call.
I gave Gary a special treat, his Christmas treat, when he turned on Zoom, and I dressed in a way that can only be described as winter wonderland.
Several layers.
I have a proper coat. I've been waiting at the bottom of a ski lift. It was minus 10.5 on the car.
Oh my goodness.
And
I've said it.
Anyway, what's up?
I've said my goodness, haven't I, straight away?
Oh.
We had one of our listeners, Melinda, did a really good idea. Actually, Run to the Hills bingo and a list of phrases that I wasn't aware that I said, my goodness, Eddie. News to me when I read that. But yeah, straight away. So we've got, what was it? You have to have a drink or do something, cup of tea or have something to eat every time one of us says one of these words. So head over to the Facebook group and check out.
You're running, do a stride, 10 seconds. Stride out.
I'm going to have a drink because I've...
Gary's drinking a beer, but don't get excited and think he's wild.
It's not real beer.
We've already discussed this. It's not really beer.
Do you always feel...
I think it's an apple juice, actually, and you just put it in a beer glass.
Alcohol-free earning. I think they do actually do proper, full strength beer, but it's really nice. It's really nice. But do you... As someone who spends a lot of time outdoors, I find this date full of optimism. I just love it. The sun's on its way. I think it's such a great...
That's why I wanted to talk about it. I found a poem, but I thought it was too much to read. But I love it. I really reflect on, for people that spend so much time and are in touch with the seasons, and it's very much part of their everyday life, that this is now the shortest day. But it's not, I think... it's not something to be feared. It's kind of like almost a celebration, isn't it? That every day after this, it gets a little bit lighter and the warmth will come again.
It takes a little while before you notice the light, but it's just great to know it's on its way. I love it. But how about you? Been up to, still clinging on to a bit of running, or is it...
I've struggled a bit because it's been so cold that we only have one slot really at the moment this week, and it's first thing in the morning. And I did I go? Yeah, yesterday morning I went out, and I feel like it takes a year off my life. I did 40 minutes. And my chair, it just feels so cold. And I'm quite used to the cold, but at the moment it just feels really, really cold. My hands were so cold. My feet were so cold. I mean, I would go skiing. I just haven't got the time with the kids at home. So, I did a little run. I've done a few little runs, but it just hasn't felt like it's doing anything apart from just getting really cold and exercising the dogs. So I've been concentrating on my gym, getting hench, getting buff. Not really feeling any strong. In fact, this week I think I felt a little bit weaker. I was saying just before we recorded, I put the squat rack up and I put my weights on, and then I went, no, I've got to take that weight off. I can't do that. And then I was doing 3 lots of 8 reps. And then I think it was the middle rep. I always find the middle one really hard. The first one feels horrible.
Yeah.
And the last one always feels quite good, but the middle set I would find really hard. And then I lifted it back up and I couldn't turn it to get it back on the hooks. And I'm the only one in the gym. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die under this bar. I'm going to die.
It's normally men who do that, though,
But
isn't
I'm
it?
really, I know, Eddie, what are you thinking? It's more I wasn't really concentrating what I was putting on, and I was thinking, come on, you can squat your body weight, but I wasn't quite ready for that this morning.
What,
But
seeing
really
those guns
enjoying
on
it.
summer, Eddie?
I know.
Triceps.
I know. Triceps, that important component of running. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying, a new challenge, being in the warm. There's something about, you feel, I said, trying to explain it to Bryn, that I feel quite empowered by lifting. Do you get that? Like lifting a heavy weight? You feel like, I feel like, yeah, I can take it.
I just shout Drago every time, like I'm on Rocky film.
Feel like Rocky. So can I carry on with that? See what and the other thing I've been doing is loads of stuff on the bozo ball. So bozo ball is like a half, you need one, Gary. It's like a half Swiss ball on the floor, like a little dome. It's really good for your ankles and proprioception. And I haven't, but I'm going to this winter do a lot of work on it because I spend like 3 months in a ski boot with my ankle like that, or I'm running on snow. There's no movement at all.
Yeah.
So I've started doing that, and I've realized how awful my ankles are as well.
It's like a wobble board.
Yeah, it's like that, but it's a ball, so it just gives you a little bit like a wobble board. If you go over, you've gone over on one side, haven't you? But the bozo ball, it's kind of going all directions, and it won't then tilt and you're stuck. So I've been doing lots of work on that too, enjoying doing something different. Yeah, not a lot of running.
And how have you kind of come to this routine? You just yourself?
I wanted to we haven't really had a gym in Morzine before. There was a little one, but it was really small, and there wasn't enough room if there was one other person in there. And it was always mountain bikers with big tattoos, and I don't mind. I'm a gym instructor, so it doesn't bother me going in a gym. Like, I don't feel intimidated, but then I would when I've been there, because they just stare, and I'd be like, I don't like it. But they've just built this new gym, and it's got everything, and a cafe, Gary, a cafe that is nicer, doesn't it? Open. That is open. That is also quite bizarre for something in Morzine. So, and it's like an organic cafe, so it's not just like French black. Yeah,
but that's going to be like a €6 coffee, isn't it?
To be honest, I don't think I've had I don't go in it yet, because that's a dangerous game to play. So every time you go to the gym, you go and get a smoothie. That's sort of counteracts the stuff. So I was waiting till after my race, and then I was like, I can join the gym, because I do my strength and conditioning here. But I mean, I think my heaviest kettlebell is 16 kilograms. Yeah. It's not the same as bar. And long term, I was thinking, like the UTMB, Lavaredo, the races I'm going to do, they require, what else can I add to my armory, basically? Yeah. I've run for so many years, there's only so much better I can get with running, I feel. I'm like, what else can I do and all those, the ultra mountain races are about the strength and who is the strongest. Mental and physical. So that is my aim. Also, I want to look hench, man. I want to look strong. No bingo wings around here for Christmas. Oh no. So yeah, that's my thinking. I want to be strong and injury free. And as you get older, you need to look at it in different ways. I really enjoy it. It's not for everybody. I don't think people should feel pressurized to go to the gym if they don't want to. No. But
I think I only started doing it to kind of manage injuries. But yeah, I enjoy it. And I do, my goodness, I think, I'm pretty confident in this, that accumulation of just lots and lots of miles and the gym, for the best part, I've been injury free. I can't remember when I was laid up for more than a week or something, and that was due to just a cold or something, not any proper injury.
We haven't had a niggle all year, have we? I mean, touch wood, Gary.
Super lucky. Yeah, touch wood.
Yeah, and then the other exciting running thing, before we just talk about everything else, is that I had a long chat with my coach, and we talked all about next year, how I'm going to do the winter. Yeah, and I'm going to do, because last winter, you might all remember, was the first winter when I didn't run very much and I just skied. And so this winter, I'm just going to add on to that. And I went and skied. good story. I went and did my first proper like training ski tour 2 days ago. So I had a 2-hour slot while my littlest was at ski school. So I turned up and I've got some new skis and new boots. And there's this one piece which you can go up, which is safe because now that the pieces are open, there's loads of people coming down. So I've got this one piece that you can use where I drop her off and it's nice and wide. And I had a few moments when I thought people were going to crash into me, but I waved my pole at them. Get away from me. Anyway, 58 minutes is my PB to climb up it on my skis. And I did 45 minutes.
Wow, Eddie, that's not like...
First attempt. Just smash that one out. 45 minutes.
That is
like,
amazing. And were you rinsed or you felt... Okay.
I mean, so I did it twice as well.
Yeah.
And at the start of last year, I could only have done it once.
Yeah.
And now I was like, no, I'll do it twice. Nice little warm-up ski. So I didn't feel like I was working that hard. And then I had to wait for like 15 minutes for Evie to come back from skiing. And I got so hypothermic and I didn't have any food. And by the time I got home, I was in a terrible state. I literally came in and said, I can't speak. I need food. So yeah, I did rinse myself a little bit, but not that much, But I'm looking forward to adding to the skiing this winter and boring you all senseless with it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing. So UTMB, sorry, it was August, isn't it? So it's going to be good watching you progress over the years.
Well, I'm not in yet. I'm in Lavaredo.
Oh, okay.
And that is end of June.
Yeah.
And then if I don't get a place in UTMB, I think I can get a place in CCC. Yeah. With my iTrax points. But I'm just not sure that, I think I want to go and do another 100. So if I don't get into UTMB, I'll find another 100 because I'm addicted, Gary. I'm like addicted. I want that. Anyway, what about
It'll be a proper 100 though, or 100 with a big rest in the middle, like your last one.
Yeah, I like the big rest. I'm not sure if I can do it without the nice dry bowl of pasta.
Sorry.
What else? What you been doing?
I have super easy. I was going to start training this week, but Neil's on 8 to 8. So my little buddy, I've lost my buddy. So we're going to roll it to next week. Catching up with friends, been out a few times. That's been nice. A few beers. Oh, when that you're at a pub and it's really noisy and my throat.
No, I can't remember the last time I was in a pub, to be honest. Maybe like 25 years ago.
I'm glad all my commitments are over now because I feel really sensitive about all the body contact. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to touch anybody. But yeah, so we've done that. I've had my booster jab. So
you don't have to touch everybody in the pub, Gary.
It's high five. I want to go in. It's just...
Hello, Gary.
I have a booster jab and that really took a chunk out of me, to be fair. It started off fine. I thought,
which one did you have? The Moderna or the...
No, it's not even a brand I'd ever heard of.
I don't mind if we have to keep having the booster, but I feel really sorry for people that have been really ill from it, like you. Like, oh God, you don't want to have that like every few months, do you?
Well, yeah, I just don't know when it's gonna end. But
I think people were raging as well because just as the resort was about to open here, and then France said, actually, you can't come.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's been huge for everybody out here because they all had staff, they all had everything booked. Loads of them had made like the Christmas dinners and stuff for everybody, and now I feel terrible. And I think people are so cross because they're like, "But we've had the vaccine, so come on, we're all having this vaccine."
Yeah.
That's
very stressful. Anyway. What else have I been doing? I've been thinking about my training. Yes, so lots of 200s and 400s, and I'm just confused if it was kilometers or 1 mile reps that I've got to do. I hope they're kilometers. I need to reread because it's a big difference if you do 5 times a mile.
10 by 1 mile.
Yeah. So that's going to be quite hard. I'll have to reread the Jack Daniels book. But after every easy run, strides, or sometimes it doesn't have to be at the end, actually it could be through the middle of the run, which I do, but not after every run or during every run. So that's going to be quite good, just to inject a little bit of speed, and they're not hard, 20 seconds, 100 meters, whatever comes first. So yeah, and I did I gave in and I ordered a new cassette for my goddamn
Glad
turbo.
You did. You should have done that right from the beginning.
I couldn't get it off.
Couldn't get it off.
Literally, I couldn't get it. I've watched about 20 YouTube videos. I bought tools.
I can still see the wheel behind you. So
I'm so embarrassed for this. It's like a little bad reminder. But yeah, I bought a chain whip. I bought all these spanners. I couldn't get it off. So I bought a new cassette, and that hasn't come yet.
And is it fixed now? Oh, it's
no, it hasn't come yet. So it's not going to come this side of Christmas.
How long have you had the turbo? Like 3 months.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. Yes, I'm getting. Lisa could be giving a lot of grief over it, but she's not. Luckily, she's a star.
Well, she knows as soon as you're on it, you're just going to be like grunting in there, going, "I will have you, Deutschman, from. I will take you up the king of the mountain. I can't come off, Lisa. Now I'm halfway through my Zwift.
I wonder if I do my if I do get on the old Zwift, I should do, shouldn't I? Give it a go.
I've got something for you. Where do Mr. and Mrs. Snowman go on their first date?
Oh, I don't know. Where did Mr. and Mrs. Snowman go on their first date?
To the snowball.
That's actually quite sweet.
For everything. It's quite sweet, isn't it?
I've got a joke, Eddie. Do you want to hear one of my jokes? It's not a Christmas joke.
Is it PG rated?
Yeah, it's PG. You don't have to warn the kids for this one. But a friend of mine started a business building yachts in his loft. Sales are through the roof. Was that a sympathy? Thing?
Oh, I love a one-liner. Let's just add a little bit of sincerity to this mind-blowingly intellectual podcast. Tora Helvelian. A name I recognise here.
Rory Harris took the win, 6:08.50.
And look who won the female race. Fiona Pascal. I wonder whose sister that is. 6:29. Yeah. That is fast, eh?
Well, that's half an hour faster than I did it in. So yeah, smoking fast.
Oh, I would like to do it. Maybe, we were just talking about doing a November race. Direct flights to Helvellyn are not sure easy yet. Going to get me there. I'm not sure they're going to get me anywhere right now.
No.
Richmond Park 10K. This is quite lumpy too, Richmond Park 10K.
It's got to be, because I'd love to do a 35-minute 10K, but you would expect something a bit quicker from a 10K.
It is lumpy. It is lumpy and hilly. I used to live right on the gates of Richmond Park back in my 15 years ago. Used to do a lot of training there. Barry McCauley. I don't think he's Indian, but I read it with an Indian accent. 35, 34. I think it was meant to be Irish, Barry McCauley.
I love it though. He's a V40 and he's crushing it. He took the win. Outright win.
Crushed that. I bet he wore a string vest, shorts. And Zoe Miller, senior, 44 minutes, 13 seconds. Other running news. So John Kelly and Russell Bentley decided they were going to do winter Paddy Buckley round. One was going to go in one direction, one was going to go the other direction, unsupported, so they weren't allowed any support at all. They're going to start at the same time and basically race each other round. To the finish, John sadly stopped, but Russell ran himself into the record, but with a new fastest time, beating Damien Hall's previous record, which was 21 hours and 30 minutes, and Russell finished in 20 hours and 15 minutes. If you don't know what the Paddy Buckley is, it's about 100k, 47 Welsh summits, and a total elevation of more than 8,500 meters. And I read what Russell, I know, holy shamoly. I read Russell's report and he said that he just had the most perfect day. The weather was perfect, but he struggled to eat in the last few hours and so was living on adrenaline, just trying to get himself home. He was 75 minutes up above the record at some point, but then he couldn't eat and so he just had to get himself home. But the whole thing with absolutely no assistance, not even cheer. He finished second at the Dragon's Back as well. I don't know if you follow him on social media. He does train hard. Ooh. He's 100-miler a week. A lot is done in the treadmill in his garage, and his garage roof is just above his head.
Is he a full-time athlete, or does he have a day job too?
No, I don't know what he does for a job, but I'm pretty sure he's not a full-time athlete.
And
he does a lot of.
I'm asking all these questions if you've got to listen to him.
Don't know him.
But did him and John? Obviously, they did know.
He never saw him. He never saw him.
But I wonder if they knew
the whole thing.
It was like some kind of gentleman's agreement to kind of go in the opposite direction, or that was just a pure coincidence.
I think maybe from reading what I said, this might not be right, that they sort of both decided they were going to do one, then they decided they were going to do it on the same day.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to do it this way because he lives quite near I think maybe the first bit, and so he wanted to do it the way he always ran. Some story like that. Anyway, let's get Russell on the podcast.
But it's great, isn't it? One of them isn't going to come out victorious. Or both of them might not even get the record. So to expose yourself like that, I think it takes some guts. That's brilliant. Great to see.
Especially all by yourself. That must have been.
Yeah.
Bet he was. Bet that was both brilliant and also exhausting. Gary.
Yes.
How does a snowman get to work?
I don't know, really. How does a snowman get to work?
By icicle.
I
thought you'd get that one. When we do our Christmas cracker jokes, I had really intelligent sisters, and they wouldn't let me tell the answer, and they'd spend ages trying to work out what the answer would be. It's like, you kind of take the fun out of the jokes. Oh no, wait, let me think. Someone will be like, oh my God, come on.
No. Okay. Oh, it's a good joke. I enjoyed that. Don't know Christmas, Eddie. What's on your Christmas list?
What's on my Christmas list, Santa baby? Nothing, basically. Because I purchased myself. Bryn and I have got to that stage of life where we kind of just buy ourselves a Christmas present. Bryn was like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I've bought my skis, so we'll just call that my Christmas present." And because my birthday's so near to Christmas,
yes,
kind of, I just like, it's all about the kids, Gary. It's all about the kids all Christmas now. Especially, I think probably your kids are a bit older, but my kids, it's magical.
Well, yeah, there's definitely no magic, but there's lots of all that went a few years ago. But yeah, they are super looking forward to it. I think they've got some things that they're not really they're not aware of. So it should be a nice surprise for them. Yeah,
we don't do like big, because the kids get an endless supply of sporting equipment throughout the year for their various things. They just get little, and they know that, like birthdays and Christmas, they ask for something, they write lists, endless. My middle one, his favorite thing is if someone comes over from the UK, so they bring the Argos catalogue, and he spends hours going through it all and then finding the thing, and then he cuts it out and puts it on his Christmas. I mean, come on. So yeah. But I'm a sucker for the Christmas. I bet you're a sucker for Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas, yeah. I just like everyone being together. I don't get pestered from work. All my customers shut down. It's just a great bit of family time. I'm trying.
What's on your list?
Well, I've got two wishes actually. One is just complete fantasy. One is pretty practical.
Can we share that? Let's careful.
Oh yeah, it's not to do with the show this week's show, the number of the show. Practically, it's practical wise, I'd like a Zwift subscription. I think that would be good. But what I really would love is if I could, I don't even know, I can't believe I'm going to say it. I'd like to have a little conversation with Rex to see what's going on.
Oh,
to see what and what I would like. Ideally, we could just like have permanent dialogue. That would be great. That's the perfect scenario. But
do you think they'd not be a bit irritating though if dogs could actually talk, because they'd only have like 3 or 4 things that they'd want to talk about? Walks, biscuits, sleepy time. Walks,
limited. My conversation is pretty limited anyway. Just running.
To be fair, you probably Have you watched the film? What's it called? A Boy Called Christmas. It's on Netflix.
Oh, no, I haven't. I know. Yeah, I've seen advertisements.
We loved it. We watched it last night, and I think you'd like it. I think the kids would like it. Bryn sat through it, and he won't sit. I'll sit through any kids' crap.
Yeah,
I don't care. So I'm sitting down, and they're all quiet. But Bryn won't. But we watched the whole thing. It was quite magical, and I think if you watched it, you might have a little tear, Gary.
Oh, I do cry. I'm an easy crier, Eddie. Oh yeah.
If you got kids, it's very family friendly. Good story. Something for everybody. Right. Let's talk a little bit about running, so that we haven't just talked about. What have we talked about? Nothing. If anybody's still listening, let's add a little bit of running to this running podcast. We've had quite a lot of questions, and you've got quite a lot of questions. Now, one day when you eventually get your turbo set up, about how to fit cross training into your running program, not so that it's not just something that we do when we're injured. And so we thought the best way would be like, if you ask me questions and we can just kind of hash it out, and perhaps it might be useful to some people. Perhaps not. And if not, tough luck.
It'll help me out, Eddie. That's all I can. I've even got a bit of paper.
Well, you could listen to a podcast, Gary.
Yeah, I could listen to Well, first one on my top of my list is, and I kind of think I know the answer to this. I only kind of start stressing about this when it comes to the end of a training plan and when you start asking if you've done too much. And one of our previous guests, Sarah Cameron, she mentioned about getting her clients to slow down when they run. I was super curious if your easy runs can be too easy.
Well, I think what we have to do here, Gary, is look at the purpose of the easy run. And if there's a difference, a big difference, and I get asked this question a lot, is like between a recovery run and an easy run. So, and there should be a difference, and they should both be in your program every week, with hopefully the balance on not so much all recovery, a little bit of recovery running and then a little more easy running in that sandwich. And so your recovery running, the aim of, and I think if you understand the aim of the run, then you're more likely to not stress about it, aren't you? So when you do a recovery runs are normally after a big session, a long run. It might just be that you've got kids and you've been up all night, you're not feeling that great, you're coming back from, a myriad of reasons. And so the purpose of the recovery run is to basically finish feeling better than when you started, to get a bit of blood movement around the body, to loosen up. A lot of it as well, I like to think, is like listening, seeing how you feel. Yeah. Sometimes I go out for running, recovery run. I've got recovery run in my plan and I don't feel too bad. And then when I start running, do you do this and you think, oh my God, I feel terrible. I feel terrible. I feel so tired. And then you kind of know, right, I need another few days to do another day of recovery. And then I'm going to do an easy day. And then I'm going to feel okay. So I think that one of the most important things about a recovery run is really to tune into your body. Yeah. You cannot run a recovery run easy enough. There is no real fitness gain. Your fitness has come from doing your session and then the rest. By running your recovery run too hard, you're actually taking away, you're going to take longer to recover so you can do less hard training, and you're taking away from that hard session you did. And a recovery run should be, people then put recovery 10 miles. To me, if you're going over an hour, 45 minutes to me is kind of gold standard. I don't know if you agree. Like 45 minutes feels good for a recovery run. When you start going any longer than that, you're starting to, going back into your glycogen a little bit. You're starting to having to do a little bit. You want to finish your recovery run really feeling like you've not done very much, or thinking, God, I need another recovery run. It's just a movement rather than training. And you should enjoy it, because I kind of enjoy that feeling of, oh my God, I'm trashed from a session. Yeah. You shouldn't, if you can run hard on your recovery days and you're having to slow yourself down, I don't think that's a recovery. I don't think you've run hard enough. That's a hard balance to get as well when you start back training or you start a program like you're going to start, because you won't be tired. Yeah. So you have to really be really strong with yourself to make sure that recovery run is really easy when you're like 1 or 2 weeks into a schedule, because you're like, oh, I feel fine. But you have to think long term. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I think I'm probably guilty. Maybe my easy runs and my recovery runs and easy runs are probably a bit muddled up.
I think with your easy run as well, just like when you really listen to your body on the recovery run, the easy run, sometimes you can feel better and you can just let it flow. And often I like easy runs to be quite progressive as well. You can start off really slow, and then as you feel better, you can sort of move through the gears, and you might finish off moving quite a bit faster than you did at the top. But it's all about listening to your body and listening to your breathing. If you're always listening to podcasts and music, you're not getting in touch with your breathing and how you're feeling. So it's really important with those easy runs. So if you're out of breath at all, that's not easy. You need to keep it super easy. Yeah. And then, as you said, adding in the strides into your easy run is a great way. When you're thinking, oh, is this too easy? I like to do them in like the last 10 minutes, 4, 6, depending. Sometimes I do 8, not often. And I don't time them. I just have a telegraph pole up the road, and I just go, and I do it slightly uphill because I think that means that you run better.
It's different mechanics, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, you just puts you slightly forward, and I just go fast up. However, I feel I really build into it. I describe it as like a long jumper. Greg Rutherford, Jessica Ennis Hill, when they like stand and they go, ooh, and then they go, and you start off like quite slow, and you build into it. Don't go out the gun, your hammies will go. You just build into it. And throughout the 4 or 6 or however many you're doing, you will, the first couple, you might feel really labored.
You do,
and then it feel better. You do feel terrible. And then I like to go back and do a little bit of running afterwards, and you feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
5 minutes, just a little bit steadier, just to remind myself that I can run properly, especially if you do a lot of running like we do with dogs and on trail. You know, it's not, we're not looking like Paula Radcliffe, are we?
No. I would typically, like you say, I would say maybe do a 20-second stride. I've got like a little thing set up on my watch, so beeps. And it would be the first 5 seconds would just be ramping up into it. And it would only be the middle 10 seconds really where, but I don't always do them uphill. I don't know if I read it or somewhere, they were saying maybe if you could find a slight downhill to maybe get your legs turning over a bit faster.
I mean, if you're doing it like 3 or 4 times, if I feel terrible, I do the first couple downhill because I'm like, free speed. I mix it up. You can mix it up on like, you know, where you feel. Sometimes I just feel, I'm going to do these at the end and I'm going to stop. I'm done. Yeah. And sometimes I like to do them I like to do them sometimes in the middle as well. If I'm feeling dreadful, I'm like, right, I'm just going to do some strides.
Do your strides. It's a good one.
Do your strides. And it's like a little secret session.
It is, yeah, without actually feeling rinsed at the end of it. I've got another question. Okay. That's a lot of text here, Eddie. I'll try and get through it. Well, it comes up quite often. Tom Evans said it, Meryl Cooper said it. They will train specifically like the ratio of the distance and the time that they hope to finish the race will all be maybe, I didn't really break it down. Would it be their whole week, or maybe say if they went away for a weekend and did a specific training block on the fells? And I mentioned before we recorded, we've got a little nature reserve for us, and the ratios there, I could do a really good Lakeland 100 ratio distance speed, but the way the elevation is broke up, it doesn't really replicate the long climbs. Do you think that really, I've got to make the best of what I've got, so I will be spending a lot of time down there?
It's the component of your training plan is your specificity. And so we're really getting into the nitty gritty now. And I think that as you get closer to something like Lakeland 100 or UTMB, you want to be as specific to that race that you can be. And so you might target 3, 4, however much time you're willing to give to be really specific to that course. And that does mean that if you've got the long climbs, like you've got a Lakeland and UTMB, you've got to try and replicate that as close as possible. If that is then the short ups and downs, and that's all you've got, then that's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. But if you can get to somewhere where it is easier to replicate, then that's the gold standard. The thing about the long climbs and the shorter climbs is that it's the tiredness, and anyone that's ever done a long mountain race, it's not actually the going up that kills the legs, it's the long descending and the braking. And so it's conditioning the quads, which is you can do with gym work and you can do with the shorter climbs. And I'd look at actually the way that you did stuff on those shorter climbs. So I'd be like, right, instead of going out and doing long stuff, I'd do some harder, faster stuff to blast those. Have you ever heard of a session called Kenyan Hills?
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness me. We talked about this before. I haven't heard of it. I can't remember the specifics now.
So you run up and down a shorter hill, but for the sake, for a duration of time to bash your legs up, basically. So there's ways that you can work around to make it more specific. But if you're really looking at investing a lot of time and money, I would say try to replicate the course as much as you can. And there's other ways that you can do it as well. Lots of my clients who've done UTMB and done training for the ARC, which is coming up in the next few weeks. Yeah. So doing stuff on the treadmill and working out, I go to the profile of a race if I'm training somebody, like I'm training somebody at the moment to do the ARC, and we've worked out the exact profile and we've gone through the race, and I've made 3 replica, this is how sad I am, I've made 3 replica training sessions so that we climb the same amount and then we descend. And so we've done like the session, but I've made it up like into minutes and stuff. So you can be that specific, like on a treadmill as well. So if you can't get to go and do these long climbs, then you can maybe look at a gym membership. But like with everything, you just deal with what you've got. And if you can still get that amount of climbing, and it means you have to go up and down the same bit like a hamster, if anything, it's mental fortitude, isn't it? Going up.
Would I be right in saying, though, above everything, fitness trumps if you're super fit?
Mental fortitude, I think, trumps anything.
Okay.
Don't you? Don't you? Like, you can be as fit as a fiddle, but if you don't want it, and if you haven't prepared mentally for it.
Well, I just don't think like that.
I just don't. I think that, like, fitness is big. Fitness will give you confidence, but at the end of the day, when it's you and the last climb, what's that last? Tibblethwaite, is it?
Yes.
Tibblethwaite, is that going to be fitness, or is that going to be your downright grit and determination? But how closely related are they as well? You can only get that like deep mental strength as well, having put yourself in the pain cave in fitness.
It's interesting.
There's no right and wrong answers for a lot of this stuff, and that's why and that's why everybody's training is different.
I just know when I did Lakeland 100 for the first time, Hardmoors, it's a good example. I trained for London Marathon, and there was no elevation at all. And then I did London Marathon one week, and then the next week I did the Hardmoors 110. I did really well. I think I might have been fifth or something. So I had a really good day, but there was no specific training for the hills. And I suppose that's what I was alluding to. Maybe I just kind of relied on how much I wanted to do it, and I was pretty fit too. Pretty fit,
no pressure. Yeah. Like, went out, maybe you enjoyed the day out and you relaxed into it. You love running, and you've got, you love running on the trails as well. You're confident on the trails. That's a lot to do with it as well, isn't it?
Next question. And the last question. Okay. Yeah. Kelly mentioned this in the Facebook group through the week, and it resonated with me too. So I thought I'd bring it up. Lots of cross training. I think Kelly mentioned about spin classes. I'll obviously be on the turbo soon. It could be rowing machine.
Maybe March, April.
Yeah. But when I think Kelly was basically asking if a certain session could be done on a spin bike as opposed to out on the trails, on the road. And similar for me, when would you say that session, you could do it, you could replicate it on the turbo or cross train it, but then another session, you just had to go out and do it on the track or the road?
I think you want to, again, look at the outcome of what you want to get out of the session, and maybe as well where you are in your program. And again, it's very individual for the person, because if you're coming from a background of a triathlete and you're becoming a runner, you want to use all those tools that you've got in your toolbox to keep the swimming and the biking, because they can supplement. You're a good cyclist, you're a good swimmer, you can use it for fitness, you can train with it. If you've never done those sports before and you implement them in your program, for your first training block, you might be like, I'm just going to add this in as recovery, and then maybe I'll add a little bit more with a little bit more sessions as I get more confident in using the bike. You don't want to suddenly add in a new sport. Yeah. You want to be just a little bit mindful about injuries as well. So you could sort of look at your background as well. If you've got something that you're particularly, I put skiing in loads in my program. I'm useless, but we'll gloss over that. So let's say for your next training cycle, so you're going to start off cycling. And you're like, okay, I've got 8 weeks of this 5 to 10K program. Where do I put the biking in that's going to be the most useful? You're not looking at if you were looking at doing like, I'm going to do a big winter base build, I'd be like, just use the bike for the volume. Yeah. Very, very unlikely to get injured. You can still get the same cardiovascular benefits. So for anything endurance wise, any long run, long bike, long effort, you're basically looking at increasing the left hand side of your heart, which is the side which pumps the blood around your body, becoming more efficient, your body becoming more efficient. You can work, which then means that you can work harder at a lower perceived intensity, that you think like, oh my God, now I can do this a bit faster. I can run a bit faster and I don't feel that it's as hard as it was. That's why you want to build this endurance. So it's a great way to build endurance if you're looking at putting into your program now. For you going into like your 5 and 10K, I would say play around with it a bit and see how you feel, especially as you're not used to all this speed work. So it might be that you do one speed session running and then you go, I was really sore, hamstrings are really sore, but I can replicate I think biking is really good for like the 1, 2, 3 minute efforts. Because however, you might not have cycled as much, you might not be as an experienced cyclist. As runners, we understand how to push hard for a minute, for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes. Yeah. And you can really rinse yourself on your bike and do that. But you can come away with a classic 5x3 minute. And if you did that running, you'd be KO'd for a couple of days. You did it properly. If you do it on the bike, you can, you probably feel all right the next day to go and do a run. So you can maybe look at like, especially as you've had quite a little bit of a rest, those speed sessions. And I would say as well, just play around with it. Like Kelly said, should I swap those for running? Well, there was chat like about efficiency, about her ability to then her stride and everything. But I would say like, actually, if you can work that hard on the bike, that is still going to, and you've got a history of running, it's still going to transfer into your running. It all complements it. And I think people worry too much that they need to run the miles and they need
I will be running it. I'll still be doing quite high mileage really.
I don't think, and the other great thing is to add recovery. Add a little bit more volume maybe, and to add your recovery. I mean, the minute you turn on Swift, you're going to be like, I am going as hard as I can to race all those people. So you just have to be mindful of that too, that if you are going on to any of these programs, that they are not built for recovery riding. Yeah. What I do, top tip for Zwifting, is I do most of my recovery sessions, especially in the winter on my bike, is I actually don't look at the Swift screen. Okay. And I put something else on, so I can't get carried away and I can't be sad. I just watch my heart rate and go by heart. And that's a really good thing with cross training as well. If you're doing a non-weight bearing activity for cross training as well, just be aware that your heart rate will be lower for that perceived exertion. So typically on a bike, it's like 5 to 10 beats lower than when you're running, which again, I think is a great saver. As we get older, we've only got so many of those like high heart rate sessions. And so I can do a session, which is like 150-ish heart rate, which for me running is quite steady, but on the bike, I'm working quite hard. So, you can mix it up like that. But I would say anything you can do cross training, do it. It's going to make you a better runner. It's going to make you mentally fresher. It's going to make your body last longer than trashing it. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be fun. It's so fun if you can let go of the reins of being just stuck in the rut of doing all this running, and you can do some cross training, you get to do stuff with other people, new people, gives us something else to talk about.
Love a Swift smackdown.
And just don't get too hung up about like, oh my God, I need to do this run, I need to do that on the bike. Again, just like the easy and the steady running, how do you feel? You feel like, I don't want to go for a run today. Switch the session up, be flexible. And if you've got a niggle, but you've got cross training in your life already. It's a lot less of a scary feat. A bit like, doing strength and conditioning in the gym and all sorts of stuff like that. If you've got it in your program already, I think as well, by cross training, you again, twittered on about this enough, but you're more in tune with your body because you're using different muscles. And it's not just all about that forward one direction. When people always go like, they're like, oh my God, Eddie, it's just so amazing at all this running. I'm like, no, I just go in one direction for a long time until nobody else is left. Basically, there's no talent. So to do a different sport where you're changing plane, doing different muscles, it's definitely not gonna not complement your running in any way. And just don't get too hung up about, I'll go do this session over there.
I'm not looking forward to that. I'm gonna have on my saddle sore for a little bit, aren't I?
You need some good. You're gonna need to. What I used to say, harden myself off for a couple of weeks. I'm hardening myself up. You need to double short, and then when you do the first session, and then when you go on it again, and you're like, just have to warm up into a loosen off, and within a week you'll have forgotten all about it. Like all these things.
Oh. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm not sure if that was any use. I twittered on a bit, but it's also specific to the person, isn't it, of what you're doing? But
yeah,
with all these things, give it a go and see how it fits in. You're never going to go, oh, I wish I'd never taken up my...
I think it'll fit quite well because I'm not going to stop running. I'm not going to replace running with cycling and then expect to run the Lakeland 100 really well. It is going to be part of the whole mix.
You look at all these people that are at the top of our game, and they're all cross training. They're all cycling and doing all sorts of other sports. Very few are just running, and I think that's a lot to do with the harshness of the sport as well. That it takes its toll. And I think as well, the other big thing is to have something like cycling, or like you said, like the indoor rower, or anything else that you can do for that recovery to be able to recover after a big race, without having to feel that you need to start running again. If you've got something up your sleeve, I think mentally as well, it really helps. Let's talk about, maybe not, we've got here favorite running purchase, but maybe it might not be a purchase. It might just be a bit of kit that this year, Gary, you've used and you couldn't live without.
I've got some, yeah.
Now, Gary wanted to do 5 each and he's still grumpy. I mean, the WhatsApp was quite aggressive. I got back when I went, we don't need to talk about 10 bits of kit that we've used. I don't think I've got 10 bits of kit.
That is a whole podcast on its own.
If you want the full 10 bits of kit, you can ring up Gary and he'll go through the list with you if you can't sleep.
But you're right, I used a lot of kit, especially the Bob Graham round. I had major kit anxiety, and I spent a lot of money on the build up to the Bob, and some of it's still in its box. Some of the kit. There's always time in 2022, but I would have to say should I do my 3, then we do your 3?
I've twittered on about that.
There's visuals. I've got visual props today. My Montane Gecko VP 5 Plus running vest is fantastic. I had an Ultimate Direction one, and that was really good, and I had a red light one, and that was good too, but it was quite bouncy when I was running. Oh, wowzers, got the same one.
Mine's not a 5. Mine's hold for a minute, caller. Oh, mine's a 20.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is going to be my Lakeland 100 vest, so hopefully I can squeeze everything in. And it's phenomenal for a soft flask. All my bits and bobs go in there, and it is just an awesome, probably my favorite vest I've ever had. Apart from, I've got one gripe, and it is quite a big gripe. The little bits where the chest straps go.
They ping off.
Yeah. And I can't believe that someone in the R&D department of Montane have let that go.
In fact, mine aren't even on here. I don't know where they are.
I'll put mine in the pocket if I'm kind of paying attention. I've dropped them so many times, like in a car park, getting my kit on, say for Bob Graham recce's and things like that. Even when I've been out on the fell, say if it's been raining, I've took my jacket. Took my backpack off to get my jacket out. Put everything back on, and then my bungees have gone. They're in the ferns or something like that. It's like, this is not good, but that sounds like
what a rucksack. This went round the Tour of Mont Blanc with me.
Yeah,
I fully loaded mine. Mine was 10 kilograms. That's took
a big bag, yeah.
That was a big bag. Many regrets. But we lost those bungee cords. My mate also had this pack, and she lost it at like 2,000 meters in the snow. We weren't going to leave without finding. We were like crawling round, dying from exposure, but we're like, we're not leaving, because like, what would you do? Like, we still had like K's and K's to run with a really heavy pack, and if you can't do it up at the front, so Montane,
I just can't believe that they'd have done hundreds and thousands of miles running around in that. I think
how the Salomon one shuts, that I think one side you can't undo on a Salomon.
Okay.
Can you? And then
my Ultimate Direction.
That pees all over a Salomon rucksack. So if you're looking for a new rucksack.
Awesome vest. So that is my vest of choice for the year. And like I say, unless it perishes between now and July, that'll be going around the Lake 100 with
and
me.
5 litre. Again, I was going to say this, but 5 litre, I reckon most ultras, of all ultras, you can fit everything in a 5 litre vest if you're savvy about how you pack stuff.
I'll get everything. I got everything for some couplets wear in there, which is 100k. So it had a pretty standard kind of Lakeland 100 style kit list, and it all got in there fine. And yeah, it was good. What my next little gem, the Solomon Soft Flask XA filter. There's probably loads of filters out there, but if you're going to spend hours and hours on the fells, this is just a vital bit of kit, really. Especially, I've mentioned Bob Graham round so many times. Bob Graham round leg 3. It's for me, it's a 6-hour leg. And unless you want to kind of laden all your crew with liters of water, especially on a hot day, you definitely need 1 or 2 of these. And luckily this actually, although it's a Solomon one, it did fit on my Ultimate Direction soft flask too. So that was pretty wicked. And then I think on leg 3, as you go into Rossett Pike, you cross a beck, and even I've never been across there and it's been dry, so you've got a good chance for water. But yeah, if you're just out, and I think you can stick that in some pretty horrible looking puddles too. it's okay.
I did think that when I did the Tour Mont Blanc and we got so dehydrated, but we got to where the snow was melting, the really questionable water source. Do you want to drink melted snow that's been up there for like 5 months? I'm not sure. And it was brown. But I mean, we drank it because we were desperate. But that's definitely.
Well, we were going up Kirk Fell, and anyone will know there's like a red bit of scree that comes off it, and it's kind of water trickles down it. We were licking the rocks.
I love it.
We were done. We were burned.
Deep dehydration.
Yeah, great bit of kit that. And my last, but not least, is my little Solomon.
I think we've talked about this before, Gary.
It's a specialist bit of kit, and it's not a great look. I appreciate that. But when you've got the hairline I have, you need.
You don't want that all going over your eyes, do you? You wouldn't be able to see.
And I've already worn it. I've not worn it since.
Really? Why not? I thought you'd been wearing that all the time.
But I have to say, on the day, it was just spot on. Neil never had one on, and he hasn't got much more hair than me, but he didn't suffer from sunburn. But it was just a good bit of
It's a cap with flaps. If you're just listening to this,
it
looks
other
like
brands available.
MDS.
Yeah, it was great, and that is my 3 top. Well, I've got loads, Eddie, but
I know. I'm sorry, I culled your dream. Do you want to do one more?
No. I've got no visual props. Come on.
Oh, I haven't got any visual props. I'm going to describe it with such words that you'll be electrified. Right, 3 bits for me. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm going to harp on about this again, but honestly, total game changer for me was the Montaigne Spine jacket.
Game changer.
It's a game changer, and I think anything that's a game changer. I've been really more mindful this year about not buying stuff, and really trying to. Just not buying stuff. I haven't bought any new running clothes apart from the jacket.
Yeah.
And I from what it's done already, it's saved my bacon, and it will definitely last. It doesn't smell, which for me, because when I'm out running in the cold, I have actually looked this up, Gary. Why does my kit smell so bad? One, I stink generally, but because of the moisture, because I'm at altitude, you really create loads of moisture when you're running. So everything just gets really wet. I can come back, totally dry day. I haven't worked that hard, but everything gets really wet. But the jacket just never gets wet. It doesn't smell. It's kept me warm. I've never wanted to take it off. It doesn't make an annoying noise. Honestly, it was game changer, and it saved my bacon on my not proper 100 miler where I literally wore it, and it kept me warm. My shoe of choice this year has been the Scott Ultra Track.
Oh, those are like a 2-tone blue one. Was it you?
Yeah, they used to do. I'm slightly sad. And they used to do like a pinkish version, which were incredible. And I bought like 3 2 pairs and then they stopped making them. So I bought 2 pairs, but they are, you put them on and they feel they do take a couple of weeks to wear in. Lots of people, I've recommended them and then they've tried them on the gun. They're too narrow. They feel really stiff to start off with. But I like that. I think if a trainer is too comfortable when you first put it on, it's not going to last that long. So I kind of like a bit like a ballet shoe when I used to do ballet that you have to wear in your trainer. So it takes, but then I've not had any, and I have a strong history of foot problems, foot pain, burning foot pain.
Okay.
It's really, I had a stress fracture and I'm sure it was my trainer choice.
Yeah.
But these shoes, the grip is really good. I wouldn't say I think there's trainers with better grip.
Yeah.
But for an ultra where you're not looking so much for flying down, you're looking for comfort. Because if your feet go, if they're uncomfortable, it's horrible, isn't it? It's just so horrible. But I've done all this. I've done all these ultras. I've worn these and I've not had one moment where I've been like, I've got to take these shoes off. I did suffer with my toenails, but that was because for our opening, we went around Mont Blanc as our opening season opener with those 10-kilogram backpacks, and the slamming of the weight downhill, it really did my big toe. And I think it damaged the bed of the big toe. So I've suffered with my big toenails, but that's not for the trainer. The trainer, now they've brought out a slightly new one, which I would say is not as comfortable, but I would wear those. I'll keep wearing them until the only thing as well is the heel runs down really quickly. And I thought it was just my dragging my heels, but then my mates that also wear them, they were like, there's this one point of the trainer and that annoys me as well. I'm like, come on, like Mother Montaigne, so surely people have worn these in testing. And you've seen that the heel needs a little bit more, I don't know what, something in it, or a little bit, it's not something in the trainer is pushing. Anyway, if you're looking for a good solid ultra shoe that lasts, I mean, I've replaced it twice. I've worn 2 pairs I think this year, and I've run 3,000 miles, so many meters climb.
The most important thing is they're a pretty sick looking trainer too.
And I look good. I go with everything. The other this isn't kit, but this has been a game-changing thing that I've incorporated into my life this year is precision hydration tablets. We talked to precision hydration, I think, last year.
That's right, yeah.
And but this year I've been really mindful of drinking electrolyte nearly every day after sessions. Again, I'm at altitude, so it's really important. But also, if you're looking to incorporate cross training and you're doing indoor sessions where you sweat a lot more, you need to make sure that you're having electrolytes. And as you know, Gary, I get migraines and then I whine a lot. If you're busy as well and you're like you might be going from the gym or for running or from going to collect the kids, or you're busy at your work or you're staring at a computer screen, drink electrolytes as well. And I think that's really helped me this year to stay on top of my heavy sweating needs.
Did they basically, through, I suppose, some tests, establish your sweat rate so you know how much to take?
Yeah, you can do like a really basic test on their webpage. Am I a heavy sweater? Tick. Do I do a lot of exercise?
Are you a salty sweater?
A salty sweater. I don't actually think I am that much of a salty sweater. I just lose a lot of fluid. But I've actually just really tried to, again, God, I'm so mindful this episode, tune into like, if I've done a really big session and it's inside, I'll up the level of my electrolyte. If I'm just thinking, okay, I ran this morning, I'm going to put in the lowest one just to make sure my electrolytes are back up. And I kind of like try to tune into actually what I've been doing rather than what a computer says that I should take on board. But that's made a big difference. I think I've been less dehydrated. I think a lot of people are more dehydrated than they think they are. Yeah. And it takes a little time as well to rehydrate yourself. So you're like, oh yeah, I can try and drink my water, but it can take like weeks to rehydrate your tissues. It's really, really important to drink enough. And I think just electrolytes really help you to do that, because they sort of think, I feel if I put one in a bottle, this might all just be like, what's it, placebo, but I feel like I want to drink it. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, that has been a big game changer for me. And I think as well, just by thinking about it, it's improved my my sort of like recovery between the sessions as well.
That's good advice. I don't do it. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, get your.
I run straight out of the door. I don't stretch when I finish, and I don't do any post recovery. Terrible.
You don't have a recovery shake?
No.
You're never going to get hench like me, Gary, unless you start taking on your protein.
And I could be completely wrong with this, but I've crunched the numbers in the past, and I think I get enough protein throughout the day than to take it as a supplement. When I did the numbers, but that was when I was a meat eater actually, and I'm pretty much, well, I do eat fish, so I'm still a meat eater, but my natural kind of protein, I suppose, is reduced quite a lot. So maybe I need to kind of do the numbers again. But yeah, previously.
And I think it's the timing of the protein as well. It's so important, is getting that protein in after the exercise, not in the evening when you did the session in the morning or whatever.
But this is where we always chat about this. Sometimes you just can't do it all. And unless I prepped everything. So I run to work and then I can if I was really organized, but I'm not. And it's just, I do my strides with the dog, because if I went home, then I probably wouldn't go back out again. There's all these, you
can't tick all the boxes. You've got a whole host of boxes that you think in a perfect world I tick all those boxes. And I think if you have some of them tick some days, some of them tick the other days, that's fine. But I think maybe, protein is a big thing that can make a big difference to your recovery, and especially if you're going into doing different sort of training than you used to as well. That's an easy thing. It just takes a little bit of planning and not to be lazy. Get a protein shake, get a couple of scoops of powder in a bottle. It's not hard, Gary.
That means I've got to buy something though, isn't it?
Or milk, just drink milk. Take a pint of milk. Add a scoop of what do the kids have? Ovaltine. I give them Ovaltine, and they go, "Oh, it's hot chocolate." I'm like,
"Oh, I do like Ovaltine."
Oh, a couple of scoops of Ovaltine and a bit of milk.
Cool. Well, hopefully that helps somebody out there.
Yeah, and let us know. Maybe I'll pop a thing on Facebook. What's your best bit of kit?
And we, just Eddie and I didn't really prep for this. I didn't know what Eddie was going to talk about until about an hour before the show, and we both whipped out our Montane vests. So moaned about the same flaw within the vest, but generally speaking, that is an awesome bit.
And I think actually that 5+ that you've got, you can fit in, because the pockets at the front are so awesome. You can put all your mandatory kit in the back, and then you can put nearly all your fuel in the front. Yeah. The other thing I would add to that, can I add one more bit? I know it's like illegal because I moaned at you. Can I? No, I won't. I'll say
no, go on. No,
but I was just thinking that when I encourage people to have the smallest pack that they can run with, but if you want to add easy free volume, the naked belts.
Oh yes,
they're called. I have a fit belt for everyday use, which I can just put my phone, always run the phone, and you can attach your car key inside, emergency gel, even for a half-hour recovery run. But and the naked belt, there's all sorts of different ones. You can attach your poles to, which I never like to do, because if you fall on your back, you're going to land on the poles. But you can put so much more into it. So if you're looking at maybe buying a new vest and you're like, oh, it's not going to fit, a belt or a multi-day, you're thinking of getting into multi-days, the belt means easy access to your food as well. It's just right there. You don't have to rummage through your vest when you're tired. Your spare head torch battery, if you're running through the night, can go in your belt. Your phone can go, little things that you want quick access, and it adds a whole load more volume that you can take. So if you're thinking that because I know lots of people get a bit anxious that 5-litre rucksack isn't big enough for them, but maybe think about adding a belt. You look good, you look like a pro, and you don't need to then run with a big backpack.
Got a little belt. And sometimes I do, sometimes when you're kind of grabbing your gels out, you take a bit too much out, then I'll just stuff them in the belt, and then off we...
Or you're trying to find it, and all you're getting is wrappers. I always do that. And I'm like, a gel, and like, oh no, wrappers. So you can get a bit of a system going with, like, you either keep your gels in your belt, so you've got fuel, and then you're going to pick it out, and then put your empty ones in your pot. I mean, God, we could go on. How dull is it? Let's move on. Let's talk about LDWA events. Yes. We've talked about these before, but go on their webpage now. They're getting back up and running. I've got some clients going to do the Winter's Tanners, which is down south, which is you can do a 20-mile option, you can do a 33-mile option. You get to follow the most hilarious, route maps, which we all know that I love.
And they are super cheap.
Super cheap, but the most amazing checkpoints filled with the loveliest grannies and grandpas you'll ever meet. They'll be in there going, "Soup, my darling. Oh, sit down. You look tired." They're not really timed. They're not really races. I think you almost get like frowned upon if you race. Obviously, whenever I've done them, I've tried to beat everybody because that's the nature of the beast. But
What was it? The first Wessex. Oh, so some people really like park. It's a big thing with park run. People do the first park run. So this looks like it's the first Wessex Chawton Challenge, LWDA, and the entries open on the 1st of January. So if you fancy that, they've got a 30-mile route and a 20-mile route. And I'm pretty sure it's open to runners too. I know some of the long-distance walking events, they don't allow...
it's open to run. And it's brilliant to do with mates. So they're actually more fun to do with mates because you've got to follow these instructions, which are hilarious. So they're much more fun to do in a group. And if you're just wanting to do your first ultra, they're brilliant because you can walk, run. There's nobody going to be chasing you for cutoffs. You can just take your time and just really enjoy a long day. And they're always on the most random footpaths, and they're always like the most muddiest, terrible conditions. Go and do them. Let us know if you do one. Any good ones we can recommend.
Scott Brown, fitness boxing debut. This is a bit.
I don't know why he's laughing. He's finding himself funny.
All right, another one I found. Deep breath. I need a drink for this one. It's the Scott Brown Fitness Boxing Day Boomerang, and it's raising money to buy a defibrillator, which will be available for the local community and public to use. And it's near the SBF gym, and there's a 5K and a 10K, and it starts at 10 a.m. Donald Castle, and it's a run on a mix of road and trails.
Do you know where Donald Castle is, Gary?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Eddie. It is southwest of Scotland in a place called Irvine. Is that how you pronounce it, actually? I don't want to mispronounce it.
I think if you just say it with a Scottish accent, it'll be fine.
Well, I can only do Cockney. That's my only other accent.
Go on, then. I can
only do all right, treacle. That's it. That's it. All right, treacle.
All right, treacle.
Oh, is it? Hello, my love. I can do a little. That's my Gloucester as well. I didn't do when.
All your things are a bit inappropriate greeting.
All right, treacle. Yeah, that's it. Literally.
All right, treacle. All right, my love.
But yeah, if you want to help people raise some money to buy a defibrillator, and you're in Scotland, that's probably the main thing. Near Glasgow.
Nice. Doing Boxing Day.
Oh yeah, I used to love a Boxing Day dip. I used to do that in Seaton Crew before I was a runner, but I used to love seeing them running into the sea and then run out again pretty quick.
What's your Christmas Day plans? Will you go for a run on Christmas Day?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll go out with the dog. Yeah, a little loop of the village. Go and take in all the local fly tipping. No.
Yeah, go on.
Lisa did the Run Peterlee. They do a Christmas run, like a bit of a pub crawl. And they run to different pubs, and she did that. Oh God, I'll tell you this off air. Actually, it's quite a funny story.
Now everyone wants to know.
I'll chop it out. They'll never. This is the outtakes. But yeah, she did a little run around Peterlee and stopping in a few pubs. And yeah, nice, but no Santa's hat for Gary. Do you go on a run on Christmas Day?
Oh yeah, God yeah, gotta escape the kids. I tend to like, we get up, cups of tea, stockings, and then they'll play with the stuff that they got in their stockings, and I'll go, okay, just heading out.
And what time? What time do they rise?
Oh, I'm really strict. I'm like, if you get up before 7, Father Christmas, we'll take away your stockings. You do not come in to Mummy before. No. If you come in before, and I go, Mummy will be raging. Christmas will be ruined. I know, I'm really strict, Gary. I'm really strict. I'm not doing the 5 o'clock. So they don't come in early. But also because they all have skied for like 40 hours, they'll be so exhausted they won't wake up before. So it's our one day where they don't have to ski for the whole holiday. So my poor little lambs. So do you know what I'm going to say to them? We're going for a family ski. Yeah. No, we'll hang out. Yeah, I'll go for a run. And then we don't open our presents until like we have like a really late, like early tea.
Is that a French thing or a Sutton thing?
I don't really know. No, because the French do Christmas on Christmas Eve.
Oh yeah, I think the Finns.
So their Christmas Day is it's quite European, that, isn't it? But we make it last the day. So we'll do something active during the day. And then we come back, get turkey in. We try and make, open a few presents and then have Christmas meal, and then we'll open the presents. We don't open them all in the morning. I like to make it last. I know. It sounds
You got
really...
any surprises for Bryn? He doesn't listen to the show.
We always do each other a stocking. We do each other a stocking, and that's probably the best bit. We're in bed with a cup of tea, and then he always thinks, he's very thoughtful. He always thinks tonight, and I've bought him a bit of shower gel and moisturizer from Carrefour. What about you? What does your Christmas day look like?
Well, probably super early. I don't know, George. Really
you don't
excited.
give the rage talk.
Oh God,
You're much nicer than me.
I am so relaxed. Well, I'm not a relaxed person at all, but I am things like that. Yeah, they'll go out with the dog. I'll watch the kids open the presents, then Rex will drag me out the door, and then tackle dinner. Really got my dad over for dinner, unless we were kind of told we can't do that. But it's our first vegetarian Christmas dinner.
What's the plan? What's on the menu?
Oh God, some jackfruit junk. I don't know what it is. I'm looking forward to it. Jackfruit Wellington.
What about a bit of a nice nut roast? That's what I have.
Yeah, I could look into that. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Fern Cotton. No. Yeah, Fern Cotton. She's got a really nice nut roast in her recipe book.
But then I've got to cook something, haven't I? I just want to go to Tesco.
It's basically just loads of nuts and onions.
So yeah, that'll be, what'll be good though, because I'm such a greedy pig that if there's not loads of food, like meat, then I won't eat it. So it's quite good.
This sounds sad. What is Christmas without eating till you feel a bit sick and then eat a bit more?
Eddie, if you've seen the food I've jammed in my throat since Valencia, I can take a few weeks off over Christmas. So I've excelled myself. So yeah, and then just relax, a few beers, I think. Cheese and biscuits. I'm looking forward to cheese and biscuits.
I'm feeling a little bit wounded because normally Bryn has to go back to the UK for work just before Christmas. So he does an illegal bag, check-in full of sausages and then cheese and then the chutneys, because I love a chutney. Oh my God, any caramelized onion, mummy's auntie's fig recipe. Yeah. So he literally will buy me like 20 jars and they last me a year and I'm out. I'm all out. I found a old caramelized onion questionable one, but it's not going to last me.
They got good dates on, be all right.
What's cheese and biscuits without a chutney?
I do love chutney. It's one of those, do you find you grew into chutney as a child? Chutneys, I wouldn't touch, but as an adult, all over it.
Yeah, anything like that. It's like sprouts, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Now, when Bryn buys sprouts, I'm like, oh yeah, some sprouts. As a child, you'd be like, oh, Mum used to go, you've got to eat one. It's Christmas. And I'm like,
where do you lie with the mince pies? Do you like mince pies?
Oh, I can't. Honestly, any Christmas fair, I can't get enough of it. Mince pie, Christmas cake, Christmas pudding. Just give it to me all. Keep it any mincemeat speciality.
My goodness, Eddie, you never guess what.
No, I won't. Tell me. Okay.
I'm going to even attempt the username. Hannah Ragdolls, easy peasy. We've got another 5-star review. I need a party popper.
They are rolling in thick and fast. Soon we're going to have to stop doing this because there's going to be too many and we don't have time. The whole
show, won't it? The 5-star review show. Welcome to the 5-star review podcast. But yeah, oh my goodness. I see it every week. I get so blown away now. Look on Apple iTunes, expecting nothing. And then it gives me a little gift. Yeah, it's beautiful. So, great guest. So much enthusiasm. Oh, yes. You can't fake that, can you? The enthusiasm. And listening to Eddie and Gary chatter each week is the highlight of my long run. They have so much enthusiasm for the sport and both lend fantastic experience. They have a great range of guests from the super long runners to the specialist experts. And so there is something for all runners.
Well, that sums it up, really, doesn't it? That's what we're trying to do. Highlight, Gary, it's a highlight of my week talking to you as well.
Little Tuesday Zoom. I love it.
We really appreciate any kind words that, anyone listening, really. We would like to wish everybody a happy Christmas. Hope you haven't minded us indulging ourselves and twittering away, but hopefully we've kept you company, whatever you are doing this Christmas. Relax, eat lots, recover. Don't stress too much about your training. Enjoy this time because it goes past too quick and it will be miserable January. before you know it. Isn't January got like the most depressing day of the month, where I think it's my little sister's birthday, where like you don't get any to pay, like everyone's got no money. It's just the week before. I'll come on, enjoy it. Sit back, relax. Don't stress about your training.
Yeah.
Enjoy, reflect, learn, move on, set yourself some big goals for next year. And we look forward to next week talking all about our New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, happy Christmas, everybody. Enjoy this time of year. Don't beat yourself up if you don't do the run. Spend some time with friends and family. I know I've neglected a lot of people when you're training for stuff. Thirsty Thursdays weren't really thirsty for Gary for a long time. In the past couple of weeks, I've had a few beers, so it's been nice catching up with people. Yeah, happy Christmas, everybody.
That was episode 69. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again for any 5 stars reviews you're kind enough to leave us. Thanks to Chia Charge for sponsoring the show. I'm Eddie Sutton.
And I'm Gary Thwaites.
And let's run to the hills.
Happy Christmas, Eddie.
Happy Christmas, Gaza.